Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Now, this week, for the rest of the week, we're going to be focusing on trophy decks mainly here on CWA because we've shared a lot of challenge decks recently and it's the end of the season, so you can see from the clan here, we are stacked. CWA Pro Tips might be like a top ladder clan soon because I have the next few episodes all kind of lined up for you guys, collecting replays right now in the clan because due to the maintenance break this morning, I lost everything I had previously. So you can see here we have the Mortar God Anaban coming back on the channel soon. We have some bridge spam with AlAraifi coming up soon. Just a lot of good content. Also a really annoying and lethal and really strong hog deck played by Abdallah Bohammed. So before we get to all that, today we're going to talk about what possibly is the easiest or lowest skill cap ladder deck for Arena 9 to really top 10 in the world. As you can see, Morten, the bait god, is on the channel not sharing a bait deck. What? Huh? What? That's not right, but it's true. So this is the deck, guys. It's easy. It's Goizen. It's like the classic Goizen, kind of. You know, the real classic Goizen had mini P.E.K.K.A in it too. And it's not a new deck by any stretch of the imagination, but it's so strong right now, and it really does extremely well no matter where you are, from 2,600 trophies all the way up till 6,000 plus trophies. So I figured this would be a good place to start with this kind of trophy pushing ladder deck series because it's no legendaries, it's pretty free to play friendly. Again, no legendaries, rare win condition, a bunch of commons in here. We do have 3 epic cards, but you know, they're some of the OG epic cards. So hopefully you guys have them, you know, somewhat leveled up. You guys can give this a run on ladder. It also actually works great on challenge too. So, you know, use wherever you feel most appropriate. Now, look at this. A little awkward. Look at that last replay. Morten's losing, and that will be on a future video for you guys. You can see here, lost. A loss there against the Hognade. All right, anyway, let's get to the replays that we are going to be sharing today. And you can see, again, Morten right now is 7th in the world using this deck. And I want to start off about going against a golem deck, right? Because when you're playing beatdown, how do you handle a heavier beatdown deck? And this could also apply to Lava Loon because we don't have any Lava Loon right now, but I do want to show you how to like appropriately pressure the other lane. So let's go ahead and start with this replay here against Mitri. So let's see. We'll start out with, you know, opening plays with this deck is, you know, is pretty obvious. You don't want to start out with a giant or a prince or a dark prince unless you're reacting to your opponent. You can split something like bats, spear, or play spear goblins at the bridge, split bats in the back, or you can split a gang in the back. And those are basically your ideal starting plays. If you want to get crazy, you can also zap your opponent's princess tower. So once we see the baby dragon over there on the left, we know he's playing the golem deck because no other deck right now, really, no meta deck certainly, runs baby dragon right now, especially this high on ladder. So this is it, guys, right here. I mean, it's obvious, right? You push the other lane. And so many times, though, people in the comments ask me, how do I handle a heavy deck? Like, how do I handle Golem? How do I handle Lava Hound? With a deck that doesn't have a lot of obvious counters, or with a much lighter deck. This is 3.4 as opposed to whatever this other deck is, like 4.3 at the lowest. So this is how you do it, right? You go all in the opposite lane, right? And that's exactly what Morten does here, investing 10 elixir, pushing the opposite lane. And what can the opponent do here? He can't drop the Dark Prince there. The Prince would just eat him up, right? He has nothing to drop. So now, all of a sudden, the fact that we dropped the bats there, I apologize for the pausing. I hope it's not that annoying. But I really want to kind of get in depth here, is the reason that we drop the bats there is because we want to be a legitimate 3-crown threat right now, forcing the opponent to invest more elixir on defense. That way they can't support that golem. Now, at this point, we know we're probably going to lose the left tower, so we're trying to get as much damage to the king tower to put us in the overall advantage as we can. So let's resume here. Not in double speed. Boom. Okay. So resuming, you can see the Giant's going to go ahead and get onto that king tower for us, and our prince does die. We are able to, you know, chip away at that golem using a gang, even though the Dark Prince is in tow. But you can see we're kind of mitigating the damage that the Dark Prince is going to do, and that's important because we want to drop a Dark Prince of our own. And again, we know he's going to take the left tower, but look at how much damage we were able to get to his king tower as opposed to him to ours. We're definitely in a decisive advantage here, and that's really important because the opponent's deck has a really big advantage over us in double elixir time. Those pushes can be absolutely lethal and monstrous in double elixir, so it's really important to try to get the advantage early on. Now look at the opponent's deck here. They're playing the new golem meta deck, and I gotta say, we lure out that log and we're applying more pressure here, right? So the opponent didn't drop a golem yet, but we know he had an awkward hand, and he certainly did. So we're going to keep striking and keeping the opponent on their toes. And look at this. We get a prince to the tower. A Mega Minion's on it, but it doesn't matter. We force out another log of the opponent, and really we can just poison cycle from here on out. And that's going to be GG. Let's go ahead and fast forward here because it doesn't really matter what he does. We're able to finish it off with a Goblin Gang there with a nice 3 crown. And I mean, Morten made it look really easy. And let's face it, it was kind of easy. But that's how you can beat heavier decks. Okay, guys? Same thing with a Lava Hound. If they drop that Lava Hound in the back, you know they only have 3 elixir left to defend. And you know they only probably have a Goblin Gang, Guards, or Tombstone in hand to stop your push. So you can kind of plan accordingly based on what deck your opponent's playing and try to make sure you drop that Dark Prince behind the Giant instead of a Prince, right? Because they have the Goblin Gang or the Tombstone in a Lava Hound matchup. So other than the Dark Prince for the Prince, you don't have to make many changes. You'll still have bats ready as your 3rd card. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into the other replay. Let's go with the, oh man, the Arrow. First of all, a really good player from Nova EG, my home clan, so shout out to Nova EG. I think we're full right now, but let's see. Let's see. We have, yeah, no spots right now, but, you know, I don't know. Soft spot in my heart, guys. Elite Gaming, that's what we turned into when we merged with Nova, is Nova EG. Great clan. Anyway, the Arrow is from Nova EG, and he's a really, really, really good player. And you can see the matchup here. It's bridge spam, kind of new bridge spam with the Hunter in there versus the deck that we've been covering. So this one comes down to the final, literally the final second of the match. It's a great one to watch. 2 great players at the top of their game. So let's hop right into it here, guys. So Morten's on the top. The Arrow is on the bottom here. And we don't know what deck the Arrow is playing right off the bat. So again, like I told you guys, an ideal starting play here could just be Spear Goblins at the bridge, Bats in the back, or Goblin Gang in the back. Of course, Morten would rather not make the first move here. So once he sees that Ice Golem, he's like, hey man, that's free chip damage for me, or I can bait out the zap. So he baits out the zap. So that's pretty good. Now that we know we baited out the zap there, we can pretty much play our bats or our Goblin Gang here without any kind of repercussion. And the fact that he dropped an Inferno Dragon back there, the opponent, the Arrow, we know we can play bats very safely to block it here. So here comes the bats, and you can see there's no zap left, and he's forced to play the Hunter instead. So here we're not getting a lot of damage, but we're forcing a lot out of the opponent here, a lot of cards, and we end up zapping that Inferno Dragon just to get a couple swings on that tower. Actually, more than a couple. That was really, really good for Morten there. He actually got like 4 or 5 swings on that tower, and now he just has a bandit he has to respond to here in the same lane. So it's going to be a same lane battle here. The Arrow, I think he might try switching up lanes later on in the match, but for the most part of this match, it's just going to be same lane for same lane. Now let's talk a little bit about lanes, right? When you're playing a beatdown deck, when do you guys switch lanes, and when do you guys stay in the same lane? Well, a good idea might be to stay in the same lane if they have like a graveyard deck or a really powerful counterattack deck. You might want to switch lanes. That way you won't be counterattacked with all the surviving troops from your beatdown push. If you're going against another bridge spam or a beatdown deck where you plan on killing most of their defensive troops, you can keep going same lane. But always just kind of try to use the best tactics you can given the deck that the opponent is playing. It will change every match. So here we go again, the Inferno Dragon pretty much cleaning up pretty well for the opponent there. And what we're trying to do here is keep a steady flow of these low HP zap bait targets heading at the opponent. That way, whenever the opponent has zap in hand, we're really forcing him to use it when he doesn't want to, right? What we want to have is no zap. That way we can block the Inferno Dragon. You saw it there. Zap has been used, and again, we're not getting a lot of damage, but we're getting a little bit of chip damage with the poison there, and now we have a decent little push and another hit with the giant there. So we're chipping away little by little. Now I think Morten does maybe make a misplay on this push, or maybe the next push. Let's see where it is, guys. But he ends up taking a lot of damage on one of these counterattacks. So you have to always be careful. The beautiful thing about this deck, guys, is you always have what you need in hand, right? So you're always able to either cycle to what you need, or you'll have an answer to anything your opponent's going to throw at you, always in your hand. So Dark Prince is probably the best example of that. And there's the mistake. We talked about it. He made one mistake this match, and that was it. He plays his Dark Prince just a little bit out of the line of sight of the opponent's Dark Prince, and he ends up taking a lot of damage to his tower, probably around like 500, 600 damage altogether there. I have to rewind to go look, and I'm not going to make you guys do that. But either way, the match would have been much different had he not taken that Dark Prince charge to the tower. So there we're going to go ahead and reset with a Prince and Dark Prince. You can see how lethal both of the princes can be when used together on defense. Now, unfortunately, that battle ram is still going to connect with that tower, and we end up taking even more damage here, but we have the giant ready at the bridge. Now, the fireball comes down from the opponent, so we know this is with 6 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, sorry guys, 2, 1, and oh, I told you it was going to be a last second. Look at the overtime clock in the top right, guys. Boom, shakalaka. Oh, I'm going to stop doing that. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. All right, so, but anyway, a really, really nice last second victory there, right? Let's go ahead and watch this one here against Three Musketeers, guys, because this is another annoying matchup, and it's the Three Musketeer Giant deck, which is, it's the worst, right? Have you guys gone up against this deck as often as I have? It's really one of the most annoying decks to go against because they can treat it kind of like a giant beatdown in the first 2 minutes, and they have a lot of good kind of card synergy to execute on a big giant push. And then in double elixir time, they can pretty much cycle Three Musketeers against you. It's just kind of an onslaught of troops coming at you. So here, Morten actually plays that poison at the same time as the opponent unfortunately played that minion horde. Probably could have gotten more value if we just poisoned the minion horde there instead, and the giant would have got a ton of hits on that tower, but we didn't have zap in hand, so maybe that wouldn't have been the case. Maybe that was the right call there in hindsight. Anyway, now we have our first split Three Musketeers. I do want to pause for a moment here because this is an important interaction for you guys to understand. Against Three Musketeers, no matter what deck you're playing, as a Three Musketeer player, I can tell you the #1 mistake that people make against me when they're playing against Three Musketeers. I don't want any of you guys, my faithful and loyal subscribers, to make the same mistake. If you're playing Log, or you have Zap, or really any card that's not a big spell, you don't want to use that card, especially Log. I see it all the time. You don't want to use your log early. If, obviously Morten doesn't have a log, but I'm just saying, you don't want to react early to the Three Musketeers unless you're full on elixir, right? So Morten had the elixir deficit, and you can see he's going to wait till the very last second here to react. And there it is. It's the battle ram in the right lane. Now, I think he probably makes the wrong decision in hindsight how to defend against this, and he ends up losing a tower. But the one mistake that he didn't make, and I see people make all the time, is reacting super early, like placing a Dark Prince in the middle or placing a Dark Prince behind the King Tower. You don't want to do that. You don't want to give your opponent playing Three Musketeers the heads up on how you're going to defend. You want to answer as soon as those Musketeers reach the bridge. That way they don't really know what side to support more than the other. And if you have a log and you use a log early against the 2 Musketeers, big mistake, because he can spam Battle Ram and Goblin Gang at you after the fact. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens here. I told you he loses a tower. He defends very well. He could have used the gang or a Dark Prince in the left lane, or he could have used a Dark Prince in the right lane. Unfortunately, he used a Prince in the right lane along with Spear Goblins, and that allowed the opponent to zap and really take down that right tower. So Morten throws a good game at him, and Shao actually responds with a good game of his own, which is pretty crazy because it didn't really turn out that way. And that's something that if you guys do have your emotes on, don't BM your opponent. let's not BM people here, guys. Let's not BM people. It's not nice. But what you can do is play mental tricks on them and pretend like you're giving up. Just like if you lose a tower early like this, I would always recommend throwing a good game, well played, you know, like you're gonna give up and die, and then don't. Come back and get that dub, right guys? So here we go. We are gonna take this left tower, and you know, I wanna tell you guys how we took that left tower. And from here on out, the one spell that you're gonna see Morten paying the most attention to is gonna be Zap. Whenever the opponent uses Zap, we know that we can absolutely go ham with all our small cards. So our gang, our bats, and our spear goblins, we can spam them against the opponent because Zap is the only great counter they have. Remember, in this deck, the Giant is in there instead of the Dark Prince. If they had Dark Prince, it would be a different story. So here it is on the right, guys. I told you we could spam, and that's it, baby. We spam the heck out of that right lane, and then we Dark Prince in the pocket on the musketeers. So that was really the turning point of this match here. And all of a sudden, we went from being way, way behind to in the lead here, guys. And we have 2 Dark Princes, no big deal, and a Giant coming down the left lane. So the opponent just drops a Battle Ram here. He is really on his heels all of a sudden. And hey, I'm not saying it was the early good game that got this victory for Morten, but he got the victory, and he gave an early good game, and then he gives the thumbs up at the end. So kudos to Morten, the opponent not happy about it, and I wouldn't be either. But guys, I hope you did enjoy the video today as we gear up for Trophy Week. I wanted to thank you all for supporting the channel. We're growing faster than my YouTube channel has ever grown, and that right now I wouldn't say is the norm for Clash Royale YouTubers. So I really have to thank each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much. I will flash up my viewer demographics for you guys, and you can see obviously US and India still strong at the very top of my demo, but certainly Germany and Brazil is up there now all of a sudden. It's great to have such a international audience, and you guys always let me know where you're from in the comments. I love hearing what sort of a global awesome audience that you guys make up together. So guys, thank you so much. Check out Morten's player profile and stats on Stats Royale in the description below, my new partner here on CWA, and also be sure to check out Bren Chong's information, my longtime partner and sponsor here on CWA Mobile Gaming. His information, again, can be found below in the description. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.